anochan. Now, if you have been watching any of my channels, you'll probably know I'm a bit of a fan of her. She's brought such an interesting and cool vibe to pop music. I mean, Japanese pop music has always been so creative and so interesting and full of so many wonderful personalities, but she has really brought something interesting of a sort of introverted character that explodes out creatively in a way that I think is quite unique, and she comes across both personable and also delightfully offensive on occasion. She delivers songs that she pens lyrics to that are often deeply personal and interesting, whilst also working with some just fantastic musical characters. I mean, stuff like, you know, the song she did with Lila Sakuta from Yoasobi and TK writing it and all these kind of things. You know, so she's worked on some great stuff, and obviously fantastically musically talented herself. You know, we've all heard her play guitar, do things like this with her band Eyes that unfortunately broke up recently. So, you know, this is an incredibly talented and interesting person. But, and also her debut album, which was kind of 2 albums, one of the best albums I've heard in recent years. But, new song, I haven't seen this yet, came out a few days ago, and I've been holding on because I've been working on some big projects, information about that coming up, been holding on so I could do this as a reaction, dying to get into this, we're about to watch it, but I did see a teaser for this. Now, it didn't have any of the actual song in there, but it was this really sort of slow, dramatic teaser of a guy, like, you know, he was like on his phone, and then he got something out of a locker, and then he bumped into someone, and he fell to the floor. And there's this long pause. And it was really beautifully filmed. And there was also another name came up in the bottom, which I looked up, and it seems that this music video is probably directed by a very famous Japanese female director. And I must admit, the preview looked really cool. Don't worry, I'll watch the video in a minute. But the preview looked really cool, but it had one thing that I really dislike in movies. And this is why I'm really interested to see both how the video is directed as well as hearing the song. And the one thing it had that I really disliked in movies is that, like, the last 50 seconds to a minute of the video was just these two people looking at each other, and slow, long pauses, and then like a word of dialogue and another word of dialogue. I was just watching it like, no one communicates like this. It's like, this is like the way they both stared at each other. I was like, this is eerie. I know this is just like a way of squeezing drama out of a scene where it shouldn't be. So I'm intrigued. Is this going to be a melodramatic video? I'm just as interested as the video by this director who I haven't heard of. Anyone, if you don't know, like many years ago, I was actually hired to do movie reviews for a little bit. I'm not saying I'm a top critic or anything, but I do have opinions on this kind of thing. So I'm interested by the video, interested by the song. Anyway, I've been waffling already for 3 minutes. Let's get in. Let's hear the new song from anochan, and also see what's going on with what appears to be a very artistic video that we're going to be getting as well. Okay, just off the bat, this video is clearly starting where that last preview ended. So, okay, if you haven't seen the preview to this, anyway. Ooh, alright. Like a dubstep style backdrop. I'm loving that skip in Anno's vocals. It's very spaced out arrangement, very beat focused, but there are little, almost Yasutaka, I can never remember his name, the guy who produces like Perfume and Kyary Family. It's a little bit of his signature to the backing. Nakata Yasutaka. Oh no! Anno's invaded his space.
ちゃぐちゃに絡まって二度と取れなくてもいいような気がしなくなくなくもない。愛してるなんて嘘吐きすぎて何にも許せなかったけどちゃんとした
It's a very catchy song with like really infectious beat as well. But again, very different from what we usually expect from Anna.
別に泣かないよこれでお会いここれでさよならまた会う日まで愛してるなんて嘘吐きすぎて誰にも許されなかったけど大丈夫
Interesting little break, very club style breakdown and build up in the beat. Alright, what's he gonna see now? Busking Anna. I love that little riff bit there. All right. Yeah, he's still got it. Okay, so to be honest, I feel like I should have watched the lyrics to get like more of how that story ended. But okay, so first things first, we have to dive in straight away with the song and say the song was, I really liked it. It was interesting because it wasn't one of those songs that was quite as crazy as some of the ones that I think are probably more obviously appealing. But what it was just a very effective sort of clubby beat. It also felt kind of, sometimes you get a club song which got a sort of club leaning focus, which still sounds actually quite nostalgic and emotional. And this did actually feel quite emotional, which is why I think that the video was such an interesting choice for this, because the video is clearly very much tied in with like a lot of Japanese auto-generated. Have we actually got English subs for this? Probably not. Yeah, and then translated to English. Okay, so let's just have a little read of that last bit. Obviously, Aishiteru. Okay, so that's well, there you go. It's a little bit of an indication of what she was saying. I personally feel like this song, like, it felt though very nostalgic. It felt very meaningful. It felt like it had a bit of heart to it. And also that riff, that sort of piano style riff was, again, it felt kind of emotionally nice. In the way this song had a slight Perfume vibe, but whereas Perfume's lyrics are very much, again, they're delivered in a slightly clubby, slightly digitalized way, a lot of effects. This had that very personal feel of Anno's voice. And once again, Anno's voice is an interesting one to put on here. A comparison that I've heard before, I've had this conversation sometimes on the podcast, Ears to the East, that I'm also on, is the comparison between Ado and Anno. And you're probably aware of Ado, who's obviously very famous at the moment. And I said, Ado's got this big, powerful, dramatic voice where it feels like she's blasting you from the outside. It's like this sound wave attack that just like hits you like a wall, whereas Anna's voice is lighter, but it feels like she plucks at the heartstrings. It's almost like you're being sort of attacked from within, and this is like that again. It's like the song's very clubby, the song's sort of hitting you with this sort of dancey vibe, and it's got a catchy melody, but Anna's voice, it adds this personal quality, whereas like an Ado adds a drama. Here, like in Anno's songs, the songs have like drama already. She adds a humanness to it, and in a very musical way. It's not a detriment to her singing quality at all. So this was like absolutely lovely, but it was very, it felt very personal at the same time. Production-wise, again, like I said, it was nice little details and nuances in there. Again, it wasn't the sort of bombastic stuff we hear from her and the over-top things that certainly give her signature, but it definitely was, again, an Anno song in that it was different from the ones we heard before. And again, this is one of the other qualities that makes Anno so good, is from song by song, you might like or dislike individual songs, but overall her catalogue songs never feel rehashed. Everything feels like it's a new idea, a new creative output. And there's no Anna song up to date that sounds anything like this. And believe me, I've heard them all many times. There's no song she's done so far that sounds like this. It has that kind of like skip club feel. Again, I'm getting real Nakati Yasutaka vibes from this. I don't know if he was involved in the production at all. No, seemingly not. No sign of him on there. But it gave me a vibe of a lot of stuff that he does. So this was just like really nice, really light, really fun, really enjoyable stuff. Had the depth, personality. It had a beat that definitely makes you bob your head, so definitely make you come back for it. Is it the most signature catchy song that's going to like stay with you forever? Maybe not. Is it the sort of crazy song that's going to give Anna her like signature uniqueness in identity? Maybe not. Is it a very enjoyable, functional song that works at the time and feels like it has heart as well as a dancey, catchable, infectious sort of feel? Yes. And from that perspective, I love it. Plus, it adds something more to her overall discography and repertoire of songs. So, yeah, this was just lovely. I really enjoyed this. And I'll definitely be popping it on to all my Anna playlists moving forward. So, as always, get in the comments, tell me what you think. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these, for now, ciao, ciao.